Today we are going to discuss about anthropology optional. First, what is the importance of this optional? This optional in these years, in recent years, has become very easy and very scoring. In fact, I would say in comparison to other optionals, it's almost becoming silly, because I don't think any other optional is so much amenable to cut and paste method. Questions are so closely linked to the syllabus. They are repeating almost the wording of the syllabus, and then even those questions are repeated again and again, the same questions, so direct, and with cut and paste high scores or reasonable scores are possible. Okay. So that is why this has become in recent years very popular. But one issue here I would like to say is that it is easy in the sense that with cut and paste you can get average or slightly below average marks. If you study well, if you do everything of the syllabus, you can get average or maybe slightly below average, and you can make up with other subjects. But scoring high is different. In this class, I am going to focus on how to get high scores in anthropology. High scores with less time, maybe first attempt, and more importantly, in a way it is useful to GS, and GS being useful to anthropology. With less time in the first attempt itself, and in a way that anthropology helps GS, and in a way GS helps anthropology. And here GS includes essay. Okay. So with that target, we are planning our strategy, high scores with less time. Okay. So how do we go about this? My method for anthropology is similar to the methods that I advocated regarding other areas also in GS, and also which I discussed elaborately on writing ability. My method depends on overall understanding, writing skills. Okay. Overall understanding and writing skills will mean developing interlinkages across areas, across subjects, and with in-depth understanding. Okay. So under this overall approach, I am charting out a strategy that is specific to anthropology. Okay. What people have been or doing now or in most institutes is little understanding, cut and paste, and mostly poor scores, and taking lots of time. So we are saying no to this. Okay. So, with this overall approach, how do we go about this optional anthropology? See, in my method, one very important role is played by what I call ethnographic profiles. To me, they constitute a very important part of answer. Very important part. How many should a student do? I would say around 30. How should one choose these 30 profiles? 30 profiles should be chosen in terms of location, Andaman Nicobar Islands. Here there are around 4 tribes. They are primitive groups, tribes. And then some not in contact. Some getting extinct. Hunter-gathering stage. So, tribes of Andaman Nicobar Islands provide a good example of what the tribes are about. Some in isolation, getting extinct, primitive stage, and what the government doing, what it should do. Racial origins, should they be assimilated or isolated, government schemes. So what I want to say is that you should be in a position to look at the entire syllabus of anthropology from this viewpoint of the tribes. Be social organization, political organization, religion, culture contact problems, government schemes, tribal policy, okay. And then Lakshadweep. Here Islam influence, and then some tribes here, Todas, and around Todas 3-4 tribes. And then Central India, then Northeast. You can look at the, then Northeast. You can think of tribes in terms of, you can think in terms of, you can think of stages, you can think of tribes in terms of one, location, races and their origins, social organization, like for matrilineal, Khasi and Garo here, and for polyandry, Toda and Khasa, and for political organization, chiefdom, Khasi. So from social organization point of view, from economy point of view, and then religion point of view, government schemes, culture contact. Okay. And broadly you can categorize tribes in terms of Central Indian and Northeast. 1 and 2, analyze them in terms of problems and intergovernmental intervention. So, what I would like to say is, be thorough with 30 profiles. You can make a very good use of them in various answers. People usually study a topic, under a topic they take an example, preferential marriage practiced in some tribe, this kind of marriage system, polyandry, some tribe. Instead of doing that topic and then adding examples, you do the examples head on. So profiles will make huge difference to the quality of your answer. So the entire syllabus from top to bottom can be done from when you are studying profiles, and you can examine certain debates. For example, which is a better tribal policy, isolation or assimilation? Students usually give a theoretical answer, but if you take specific examples, for example Sentinelese, they can be isolated, but Chinsus, very difficult. More importantly, they are already assimilated or integrated, so isolation is very difficult. So Jarvas, so what should we do regarding Jarvas? So take a specific case and then see in that specific case which policy is better. So your answer will be much more qualitatively superior. Okay. For that you need the sources from Wikipedia, YouTube and other newspapers. Okay. Unfortunately, the books that the students are studying are outdated. I would say they belong to pre-internet age. But now with internet, recent things are available and then you can use them. Even for 5th schedule and 6th schedule related issues, you can see within Meghalaya what are the problems that each tribe is facing. So within the 6th schedule, which tribe is facing what problems? What is the problem with the Garavs, for example? And then, so you can, when you are writing on 5th and 6th also, you can give a specific tribal examples of Northeast and Central India. So ethnographic profiles add enormous value to your writing. Next to ethnographic profiles, I would say is anthropological thought. I would like to say anthropological thought is not a chapter in anthropology. Rather, it is the heart of anthropology. Okay. That is at the very center, because thought is all about what various thinkers thought about various issues, like what is culture, what is society, what methods to follow, or what assumptions to be made, fieldwork. Okay. And then their own theory. So through thought you study the history of anthropology. Through thought you understand what anthropology is all about. But often students don't think that is central because they don't really understand. The problem with thought is that most of it is abstract. First few chapters are easy, evolutionism, diffusionism, and maybe students can understand functionalism also, but after that quite difficult. Students rarely understand what is structural functionalism, what is Radcliffe-Brown's structure, what is social system, what is Levi-Strauss structure, symbolism, cognitivism, postmodernism. They go completely over the head. So because their understanding is very poor, they don't really appreciate the discipline of anthropology, and they don't apply thought at other places. Okay. And because they don't understand thought, they read these chapters as separate entities. They are not. There is a chapter on culture, chapter on society, chapter on fieldwork, but they are all related. What you should know is that you should take a thinker and then his assumptions, his fieldwork, his method of study, what is his contribution, views. And if you do like that, if you fully understand, then not only you will answer questions on thought, but you will in an amazingly impressive ways, you will apply them at other places. Take for example a question like kinship terminology. So normally students will go to the material under kinship terminology and they may write some diagrams, but they are not likely to think what Morgan thought of, how Morgan tried to use the terms and came with an understanding, and then how his understanding was questioned. Like this, link. Something like preferential forms of marriage. Students are more likely to go to the topic on preferential forms and simply write. They are less likely to write about Levi-Strauss or what Airavati Karve said. And then of course you can use advanced theories also. For example, what kinship term mean varies from culture to culture. So here you can use symbolism. So at various places you use thought. Of course, on questions on society, culture, fieldwork, on fieldwork, Malinowski, Mead. So whatever you read about a fieldwork, about any thinker, be it Snyder, then you include here. So every question you have to see if some link can be established with the thinker. How did formal anthropology debate and who are on which side? Okay, so I would say it's very important. Of course, basic book in anthropology, I would say, is Emerald. Do this basic book to understand profiles and also anthropological thought. Okay. Now that's about anthropological thought of paper 1. But that is about anthropological thought in paper 1. But there are also thinkers of paper 2, Indian thinkers. Indian thinkers also contribute a lot. Okay. So what is it that you have to do for each thinker? Take for example S.E. Roy or Bose. You can link Indian thinker with what is foreign. For example, he started with evolutionists, functionalists, how he was influenced by these thinkers, where he worked, fieldwork, and did he work on problems? And what he thought should be Indianness in anthropology. S.C. Roy has certain definite views on what should be Indian anthropology. Okay. So link it to Western thinkers, fieldwork here, problems, their views, and what they think is Indian. In this case, Bose started with Kroeber, influenced by Kroeber, Gandhi, Christ. Fieldwork and method of fieldwork. Writing. There are many fieldwork, method of, sorry, it was Gandhi, fieldwork and writing. Elvin, Fraser, Gandhi, Christ, fieldwork, writing. His views and how he touched postmodernism, and then compare with Gurey and others. So what I want to tell you is that take an Indian thinker, relate to Western thinkers, and the fieldwork he did, problems he studied, his views and his influences. Okay. So these thinkers, Indian thinkers, can be used when you are writing, when you are answering questions on paper 2. So this is how anthropological thought of paper 1, anthropological thought of paper 2 are useful. But to be able to understand the details of anthropological thought, it is better if you have a broader perspective. And the broader perspective from anthro thought comes from sociological thought. Okay. Durkheim influenced some people. Marx influenced some people. Okay. Philosophy of postmodernism. So sociological and philosophical roots will give clarity on anthropological thought mentioned in the West and anthropological thought developed. So a larger perspective enables you to link smaller details, and as long as you can link, you can compare and contrast, and from a limited information you can write more. Okay. For example, question on tribal problems, you may think that what is the role of thought? You can mention the anthropologist who studied that tribe, what he wrote about the problems. Okay. On approaches, you can mention the anthropologist and his opinions, and then how his opinions are different from others. So I would like to say that after ethnographic profiles, thinkers constitute a very, very important part in anthropology. Profiles that we discussed are only examples of the tribes. Theory that we discussed are opinions of people. But what is it that we want to study about India under what is called anthropology? What is it that we want to study? Here I am taking a stand which you can disagree with, is that the core of Indian anthropology should have something to do with this interface. Caste, tribe and religion. Going by the syllabus, caste covered in paper 2, tribe paper 2. Tribe is many times more than caste, and then religion covered in paper 1 and paper 2. So religion is given a lot of importance. Your religion in paper 1 and religion on Indian society as one chapter in paper 2, religion on Indian tribes in paper 2. It's caste, tribe, religion. So I think we should try to understand the interface between these three. What is meant by the interface and what actually is its significance in the context of India. I am giving an essential narrative of Indian society. Some tribes are here, call them indigenous. You can call them indigenous. Outsiders came, Aryans, and then out of this interaction of Aryans and the indigenous, caste is formed, Hinduism is formed, and tribes are the people who are left out of this process. So it's essentially Hinduism evolved as a process of absorption. So what was the culture before? What kind of culture evolved? What kind of religion came up is an issue. Okay. The people who are left out are tribes, but then it is not only Hinduism that is involved. There is Christianity. There is Islam. How did some people become Muslims and Christians? And how did some tribes take to Islam and Christianity? Are the issues. So, how this whole thing evolved, if you ask me, you get an idea of how Indian society evolved. What were their origins? Evolved. How it was when it was child, naked. Okay. So it is this interface is the most important and fascinating thing. That's why I am planning my next book on caste, tribe and religion. And now, if you are going by the sources, for caste, socio books are the main source. For tribe, any recently written books are there. And religion, some polity books and sociology books are there. And along this dimension of caste and tribe and religion, you can also include, along this dimension of caste, tribe and religion, you can include political dimension. What is the political dimension? Political dimension is in terms of how the state is absorbing the stateless. State had an organized religion and the stateless was primitive religion, and how when state is absorbing and accommodating the stateless, how mainstream religions were imparted to the stateless. Okay. But how did state have that control over the stateless, or rather how did certain societies become states? Here, economy. Okay, for example, wet rice cultivation gave power, because of which Hinduism spread. Colonialism gave power, because of which Christianity spread in remote areas. Political power led to spread of Islam. So this is how polity, economy played a role in this. So insight in anthropology comes in understanding these linkages. And the difference between sociology and anthropology is that anthropology focuses on origins of this interface. It is not simply about study of tribes. So to know Indian society in its naked form, anthropology is the best discipline to study rather than sociology. So after this, what is the complexity of present society? Here, sociology. And do you know what this understanding means to the examination? Because we are talking about the exam in the examination context. If you do like this, then you understand GS. On the other hand, if you take anthropology is about the study of tribes and very few questions are there in GS, then it's less relevant. But on the other hand, if you see anthropology is about the origins of these essential aspects of Indian society. It focuses on origins and then comes till the latest. That's what anthropology is. Read Ember and Ember. On any aspect, take for example marriage, family, kinship, he gives the origins, even pre-human origins, and then simple societies, and then the complex societies, and then most modern societies, like discussing even live-in relationship. That is what anthropology is. Anthropology is not confined to origins. Anthropology is not confined to tribes. It is about the origins of the interlinkages and then their extensions. It is simply that it is in focus. Anthropology differs. Okay. Once you understand, anthropology is about origins of all aspects of the society, extended and to the present. Okay. Then you know to study anthropology where to look. And the students in GS read variety of sources, lot of magazines. Okay, they read on economy, they read on polity, they read on social issues. All of them are important here in the so-called anthropology. Question on sex ratio, question on village, imbalanced sex ratio, impact of media as an instrument of social change, critical evaluation of anthropological village study in India, impact of market economy on the judgment system, polity, economy, interface and current is coming from GS and newspapers. The origins of the society across areas is anthropology. So that's how you can make use of knowledge from general studies to write. So if you do like this, then GS will be useful to anthropology, anthropology will be useful to general studies. Now we will discuss what is applied anthropology or application of anthropology. Why I am taking this topic now is that discussion of this topic throws light on what is anthropology. Okay. Anthropology, as we discussed, is about interlinkages, origins. But in trying to study origins, usually anthropologists focus on, but applied anthropology is about application of anthropology to the contemporary. The syllabus, according to the syllabus, this contemporary includes simple as well as complex. Okay. How do you solve tribal problems is an application of anthropology for simple societies. How do you solve ethnic conflict, communalism is about complex societies. Okay. I notice that the students read something under applied anthropology, but they are not in a position to really apply, and they find many topics quite unreachable because they see that there is not enough literature on them. I trace that problem to lack of understanding of what is anthropology. What I would like to say is that anthropology is indeed helpful in certain places. Take for example in simple societies. What you learn about education is useful to understand educational problems of tribes. But where do you learn about education? It is not in anthropology. It is from educational psychology. What you learn from educational psychology or educational philosophy, you apply it in the context of education of simple societies. That they say is applied anthropology. But don't ask where is that in anthropology. There is nowhere. That is how you should write. But some articles written in this way, so those articles are useful. But what I want to understand, what I want you to understand is that anthropology is essentially interdisciplinary. Okay, and so lot of understanding of anthropology comes from outside anthropology. How do you educate tribals doesn't come from anthropology, it comes from somewhere. What kind of medicine you should provide to the tribals again doesn't come from anthropology, but from some place, some other place. Okay, various alternative medical systems. Which medical system may be useful to the particular tribe? What is the tribal resources? It is a different knowledge. So, interdisciplinary and then coming like this. So, students should read again here what he studies for GS or essay is useful. Yeah. But to be able to apply confidently, he needs to know what is anthropology, and so that he can draw his answer from various sources and not limited by the knowledge that anthropology textbooks have. Next, take an example of application to complex societies. Students have a problem, how do you apply anthropology to communalism? That is one of the things in the syllabus. How do you apply? The first point is that it may not be so relevant, because anthropology essentially focuses on simple societies. Now the problem of communalism is political use of religion, which is a problem of modern day politics, which is not the forte of anthropology. So once you know what anthropology is, you will also know what is its limitations. So where it is applicable, where it has to draw from other sources, and where it is limited with freedom, you can write this is applicable, this is not applicable. Same thing about ethnic conflict. Okay. So written this way, you will use your general studies essay and then this. Not only that you use JS essay here, but you will use these, what you study under ethnic conflict, right here. Essay on regionalism, ethnicity. This is how applied anthropology draws resources outside anthropology, and these resources are familiar to you but being taught by other teachers. I want you to understand this so that you don't equate anthropology with anthropology textbooks. Okay, anthropology textbooks are a kind of a forum, kind of an opportunity where they take from different sources. Okay. Now last, coming to our course. First thing is that our course understands this diversity. I am confined to only cultural anthropology and Indian anthropology. There are two subject specialists. They teach, one teaches physical anthropology, who is a specialist in genetics, and another teaches archaeological anthropology, who is a specialist in archaeology. So three people handle the discipline. Then we have objective type tests, essay type tests, where we see how candidate is in a position to apply this knowledge and whether he is able to bring these interlinkages and write effectively. Students interested can contact.